And he said that when he got to Hollywood, people were offering him drugs all the time, like people like Robin Williams and others, the SNL cast. We've had a couple members from Saturday Night Live who died from drug overdoses. Eddie Murphy was smart enough to say no. And I speculate, I'm not sure, but I'm going to speculate that it was his genius as a black man that led him to understand this strategic thinking because I believe that he saw men in his own family go down from drinking too much or using drugs. I don't know. I've never talked to Eddie about this. I can only relate to it through the lens of my own experience, and so I'm biased in that way. But I can tell you that I never touched alcohol or drugs, and it was because I had alcoholics in my family. Anybody else got alcoholics in your family? Seen what that's like? Just what a shit show that becomes for the kids, for everybody. You're embarrassing yourself, you're hurting people, right? I have the drug addicts in my family. Both of my fathers were on drugs. That kind of long term for me, that's a blessing because I said I'm gonna turn this liability into an asset. I know to stay away from drugs. So the father who did actually raise me, the other one he was out living. I don't know what he was doing, but the one that raised me, he made sure that I understood early, like you don't mess with this stuff at all, right? So ultimately, somebody has to do the autopsy. When an opportunity gets lost, somebody must do the autopsy. When wealth gets lost, somebody has to do the autopsy. When an athlete blows through $100 million, somebody needs to do the autopsy so that you can prevent this from happening again, so you can learn from it. Every mistake you make in life is a blessing if you cook that blessing appropriately. Just like every piece of raw meat that somebody gives you is a meal if you know how to cook. But if you don't cook it, it's going to taste nasty. If you throw it in the garbage, it's going to be wasted. If you let it sit there and do nothing with it, it will fester and you will still go hungry. But if you know how to cook and somebody gives you a piece of raw meat, you can put that meat in the oven and make a really delicious meal. So here's the deal. When you get the raw meat you get thrown are your mistakes. The raw meat are the tragedies that happen in the black community. The raw meat are the losses that you'll experience because we all experience some type of loss. And so cooking it means meditating on it, studying, and throw it in the oven and you're cooking. You're like, I'm cooking this experience. I'm really gonna cook on this and really think carefully about how this experience affected me. What were the pros and cons? How can I turn this liability into a blessing? What can we learn from this? What mistakes can we avoid because we went through this tragedy? And you know what happens when you think that way, when you process your experiences in that way, every liability becomes an asset. Then you get to say, cliche things like sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, right? You get to say stuff like that because it's true. It's true, right? Like the biggest, here's the thing, almost everything that is valuable is expensive, but not everything that's expensive is valuable. How about that for bars? Y'all catch that? Everything that's valuable is usually expensive, but everything that's expensive ain't valuable. It's only valuable if you extract the value. It's only valuable if you can see the value. Wealth and value and valuation is a highly perceptive process. It's deeply psychological. If you don't see the worth or the value, if you don't see the worth in yourself, then you really think that you're going to go through life feeling like you're a valuable person. So sometimes it's sometimes extracting the value in who you are and your whole existence comes down to you gaining the ability, the consciousness to even see your value, to see your worth. I don't believe as black people we're trained to see our worth. I don't.